Good morning, friends. Here I am your friend Dr. Pratibha discussing with you the syllabus of Ctet examination. My students have been preparing for Ctet examination and I thought of preparing few videos which can help them to prepare. Today we will be discussing the first part of the syllabus from which around 15 questions come. So let us first discuss the syllabus, then from tomorrow onwards I will be uploading more videos discussing each topic so that you can have an insight on them. Let us see what is the syllabus. See, child development for elementary stage syllabus is number one, child development. Child development में the first one is concept of development and its relationship with learning. This you have already done in B.Ed, but फिर एक बार और हम उसको देखेंगे कि सिलेबस में किस तरीके से क्वेश्चन जो है ऑब्जेक्टिव टाइप बनकर आते हैं. कंसेप्ट ऑफ डेवलपमेंट के कंसेप्ट को देखेंगे, फिर हम देखेंगे लर्निंग का कंसेप्ट कैसा है और फिर उन दोनों के रिलेशनशिप को डिस्कस करेंगे. उसके बाद प्रिंसिपल ऑफ डेवलपमेंट, देयर आर डिफरेंट प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ डेवलपमेंट ऑफ चिल्ड्रन एंड वी विल बी डिस्कसिंग ईच स्टेप, ईच पॉइंट ऑफ द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द चिल्ड्रन. Then influence of heredity and environment on child development. Child development is a process which goes on from one stage to the other, and in every stage there is a relationship between heredity and environment. So we will be discussing the relationship, how it exists and how it influences heredity and environment. Then we will be discussing the socialization process. Then we will be discussing three theories, that is Piaget's theory, Kohlberg's theory and Vygotsky's theory. I think you have already discussed all these things in the classes when you were doing B.Ed, but still we will be discussing so that you get an insight into every theory and how the objective type question come. Then the next is concept of child-centered and progressive education. See, today when we go to school, we find that the education is changing. We are going for child-centered education. When we are talking of child-centered education, there are different concepts which we need to discuss and we'll be discussing it here. Then critical perspective of construct of intelligence is the another topic. Language and thought are important topics. Then gender as a social construct, gender role, gender biases and educational practices. You can find many videos. On my YouTube channel where you can find videos on gender as a social construct, gender role and gender biases, and how educational practices have these gender biases still ingrained in them. Then we will be discussing individual differences among learners. This is very important because when we go to school we find different kind of students in the classroom. So the teacher has to have a in-depth knowledge of how individual differences act. Therefore, this is a part of Ctet examination. We will be discussing many questions which are related to individual differences. फिर अंडरस्टैंडिंग डिफरेंसेस बेस्ड ऑन डाइवर्सिटी ऑफ लैंग्वेज, कास्ट, जेंडर, कम्युनिटी एंड रिलीजन. इन डिफरेंसेस के बीच में किस तरीके से इंडिविजुअल डिफरेंसेस एग्जिस्ट करते हैं. डिफरेंस बिटवीन असेसमेंट फॉर लर्निंग एंड असेसमेंट ऑफ लर्निंग. दो चीज़ें हैं, असेसमेंट फॉर लर्निंग और असेसमेंट ऑफ लर्निंग. दोनों चीज़ें अलग अलग हैं, इनको हम डिस्कस करेंगे डिटेल में. इनसे रिलेटेड ऑब्जेक्टिव टाइप क्वेश्चंस को भी डिस्कस करेंगे. देन वी विल बी डिस्कसिंग स्कूल बेस्ड असेसमेंट, continuous and comprehensive evaluation, then formulating suitable questions for assessing readiness level of learners and for enhancing learning, critical thinking in the classroom and evaluating learners achievement. So these are the topics which we'll be discussing and they will cover around 15 objective type questions. So students, get prepared for the next video. We will be discussing the first topic, that is concept of development and its relationship with learning. Thank you.